Check.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yep. Yes, I don't know, wherever you feel
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna try to. Yep. Back up and that's it, and I'll talk up here, and then when to get started, I'll like
Okay.
Do I have to pass the mic to take things?
Uh, I guess
Yeah,
not.
I'll probably be moving. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty.
So they all have
Yeah.
mics
So
but
that's
you.
just your mic. The only thing we didn't figure out is questions in the audience. So you'll probably want to keep your mic, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll snag a mic from the panelists and we'll hand
Oh,
that
not
to the
an
audience.
issue, man. And then I'll just talk from up here. That's
Okay.
easier.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right. Ready to go?
They're able to ask questions all throughout, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, I just told John. You want to stop, John? Oh, no, not yet. Okay. Do you want to just give John the like okay when you're ready? Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, man.
That's fine as long as you guys don't start to like echo chamber. Yeah, yeah. As long as you guys do a great job of like she just said, whatever.
It's crazy. Like all of the faces are just different
I was gonna say.
from like when we were here. It's so funny. Good to go? Okay. All right. We're all set. Go. All right. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Good, good, awesome. Welcome to the 2023 Pass It On event. We're thrilled to have you here with us. I'm Jordan Dubos, Mentorship Chair of the Black Alumni Network. The goal of today's event is to kick off Homecoming 2023 and hear from a group of distinguished alumni. Pass It On is an opportunity for Black alumni and students at Duquesne University to meet and pass on their wisdom. Before we dive into our conversation, I'd like to acknowledge our dedicated DO Band and alumni coordination team. Thank you so much for all of your help. Let's please give them a round of applause for their assistance. Yeah. Next, to guide us through our discussion today, we have an experienced and knowledgeable moderator. Please join me in welcoming Talia Kirkland. Talia is a Pittsburgh-based reporter at WPXI TV with a big personality and an even bigger heart. During her time at WPXI, she has worked tirelessly to elevate the stories and issues of Black and brown communities through an ongoing series, Pittsburgh Gets Real, where she highlights important issues in the community from racism to housing and healthcare inequities to police reform, giving a voice to the marginalized voices in the region. Talia will ensure that our conversation stays on track and remains productive. We're grateful to have her expertise. With that, Talia.
Thank you, Jordan. Can you guys tell that I wrote my own bio for this? Yes. Thank you so much for that introduction. I really do appreciate it. I am so excited to be back on Duquesne's campus. Every year, being a part of homecoming is so important, but since this has begun, I'm really getting to see the students here and kind of give them some advice, some wisdom. I mean, we may learn from you guys, honestly, but just to be here and really just share what we took away from Duquesne and what still guides us in our everyday careers and honestly life experiences. I'm hoping that this is just an easy flowing conversation, just sharing wealth. We have a distinguished group of panel experts who are going to share their insight on our topics that we decided that would be most helpful for you guys. Our panelists bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to this discussion, and we look forward to hearing from them. I want to introduce each of our panelists right now. Eric Swan Jr., if you can start. I know you guys didn't sit in order for me, so just go ahead and introduce yourself. There's a microphone right on your side. If not, I can grab mine.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Swain Jr. Graduated last year with my Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration. I'm now currently in the MBA school studying, I'm graduating in May of 2025, originally from Marietta, Georgia, and last year I was homecoming king, so.
Next we have Rachel Means.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Means. I graduated last December with a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science with a pre-law certificate. I'm excited to be here with all of you. I also work here at Duquesne in the School of Nursing.
Next, we have Kayla Harris.
Hey. Phuket. Okay, sorry. Well, I'm Kayla. I currently work here at Duquesne in Communications Teaching and Research. I also graduated in May with my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and I graduated here in 21 with my bachelor's in psychology and women and gender studies.
Next, we have S. Renee Dennis.
Hi, I'm S. Renee Dennis. I am a class of 1995 student from the School of Business. My concentration was management information systems, worked in corporate America 13 years, got a calling to become a nurse, went back to school, and I am currently working as a nurse practitioner and a student here at Duquesne, soon to be class of 2025 with a doctorate in nursing practice.
Wow. Next, we have Randall Coleman.
Hi, everyone. My name is Randall Coleman, as Talia said. We actually grew up together. We went to Penn Hills together. And so it's great to be here together as adults, but we also went through our Duquesne process together as broadcast journalism majors. So I studied broadcast journalism in undergrad and in grad school, went 6 straight years, studied media management. And as of now, I'm a photographer in the city, videographer. I'm also a teaching artist for the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. And so you also may have seen me around campus taking photos of your classmates as well as your own lovely faces. So I do a few different things out here in the city, but I'm glad to be here today.
Yes. Ronnie Sermons. Did I say your last name right?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
But I'm gonna do a tag because when I was here at Duquesne, I was Ronnie Shirley. So that's my maiden name. I graduated from Duquesne and from the School of Education in 1995. I'm from Pittsburgh. I actually got introduced to Duquesne from a high school counselor. I was a tutor for students in middle school, and I didn't want to deal with kids. But that was God's way of showing me my calling. So fast forward, I have been in Pittsburgh Public Schools as a middle school math teacher for 26 years. And so it's my honor to be here.
And last but certainly not least, we have Tanya Gilbert.
Hello, hello. It's good to be here. My name is Tanya Gilbert. I am a Pittsburgh born and raised, I say daughter of Pittsburgh. I currently live in Charlotte. I graduated in 1994 from the Master's of Physician Assistant program at the Rango School of Health Science. I've been working 28 years as a PA. I went from being a hospitalist for about 20 years, and I've been working in psychiatry for the past 7 years. I had switched over to telehealth, which is my passion right now, so I currently see patients as a travel, locum tenens PA, as well as telepsych.
I would like for you all to give it up for this amazing panel. I read their bios, but wow. I mean, it is an understatement to say a wealth of knowledge. As you can see, we have multiple disciplines of study here on stage, so I really want everyone to be engaged. People hate when I do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I want everyone to stand up for a second. Just stand up. Okay, raise your hand. Like, just raise your hand up in the air. That's what I want to see people doing as we are asking these questions. I want this to be an engaging evening. You can sit back down. I want this to be an engaging evening. If you have a question, ask it. This is your opportunity. We have closed the doors. This is a safe space to really just enjoy the conversation. These are our experts. They came or they traveled from Charlotte. I heard DC area. I mean, people traveled in to be a part of this and be here to answer your questions. So please, as much as possible, just ask and be engaged tonight. I might ask you guys some questions. I like how we did some career switches. So anyway, if adults here as well, alumni, please just be engaged. If you guys have questions, let's just have a good time and a good conversation. So I am going to ask the first question. I know we just talked about maybe doing it a little bit more free-flowing and not asking, but for the first question, I'm gonna pick on this person for this question, just to get it kicked off. So I'm gonna ask Tanya, Miss Tanya, how was your Duquesne experience? Is there anything that you have done would have done differently while you were a student here?
So I get asked this question a lot. Being from Pittsburgh, I felt like I was able to go home a lot, so I didn't deal with the homesickness and a lot of the issues that some of my students that I went to school with did. But the one thing that I did not do, because I was so comfortable here and so familiar, I did not participate in study groups. And I learned, like in my first 3 years, it wasn't that difficult to manage, but once I got into the PA program, it was paramount. And so I noticed that I was studying alone a lot of the exams, I felt like I wasn't as prepared as my classmates. And so I would encourage you guys to be a part early on and to, when new students come in, to encourage them to do the same, to be a part of study groups, because it's very important, not only for your growth in the classroom, but also when you graduate, you have to be on teams. And so that is the training ground for being on teams in your career as well.
Yes. Now, does anyone else on the panel have anything that they would add to that? Anything that they maybe would have done differently? Something that they learned maybe on junior year that, dang, I wish I would have been doing that during my freshman year. It would have really helped me along my trajectory.
So one thing I would never change anything with my Duquesne experience. I'm very grateful and truly blessed that I had the experience that I did. Minus the pandemic, but I definitely would add studying abroad. I know for me, the money was the biggest thing that deterred me. I was like, no way, I'm not doing this. It's too much money. I'm in college, I have to save. But my, oh my, the connections I made had plenty of money to spend, okay, and let them spend it. So be connected, talk to offices. I'm looking at Quincy, because I know he got some funds that can definitely send some BIPOC students or any student to wherever they want to go, even if it's a spring breakaway, right? Like that is significantly cheaper than studying a whole semester abroad. So thinking about options, being in college, you don't ever get this time again, like ever, being with your friends or having this experience. Because once you're in the real world, you are in the real world. So travel on their dime.
Is there anyone in the audience who wants to travel abroad and they have thought about it but said maybe the money is a deterrent or maybe the timing is a deterrent because this is the space to ask questions like that? I know that when I was a student, I am also a Pittsburgh girl. I wasn't too excited to go many places. I had a sorority sister who said you have to study abroad. I was like, I don't really want to, and I don't know who's going to pay for this, but I got the Vera Hines Scholarship. So there are scholarships. I got to travel abroad for the entire summer, which was just enough for me. But you definitely, that experience changed my life. So definitely, is there anyone who has questions? We do have representatives here in the audience who are in charge of departments that may have scholarships, may have funds. Going once, going twice, okay. Nobody wants to go to Italy, Rome, There we go. Any adults? Go ahead.
I will just say I love that and piggyback on that. And as an undergrad, I'm also from Pittsburgh, low-income area of Pittsburgh, and never saw it as a possibility for me. Coming back and being a student here as a part of my doctorate program, my emphasis is transcultural nursing, and so I did get to do the Italy abroad this summer, and it changed my life. And you don't know what you don't know, right? And so being there, the exposure allowed me to see how limited or how small my thinking had been all along, where I was thinking I would travel to another country and work in another country abroad for a while once I finished. But I was like, there are so many governmental agencies in which you can work for and be home-based here and travel to wherever you want to be, right? Once we got exposed to going to, I think we went to the WHO there in Italy, and it's worth it. Tuition-wise, it wasn't a big difference. So look into it. It's not a big difference. It's supplemented a lot with a lot of the programs. I think I paid $500 extra. Oh, wow. So I would consider it.
I'd like to add to the conversation. It's very important to know where the money is on campus and not to be shy about it because these resources have your name on it. This institution is yours, especially while you're here for your 4, 5, 6 years, however so long. And so don't be shy to ask questions. Furthermore, when it comes to something I wish I knew, I wish I had known when I was younger, freshman, sophomore year, the perks of different organizations on campus. And so student government, at least when I was in school here, student government, the president gets all their credits waived up to 18 credits. I don't know if you all knew that, but that's what it was, at least when I was here. Different positions within student government also had perks, tuition perks. Even the Duquesne Duke, the newspaper, the editor-in-chief, I believe, got 18 credits waived off the tuition. And then each editor for various columns within each edition had 5 or 6 or 5 or 3 or however so many credits waived off of their tuition. There are perks when it comes to the yearbook team, and even other organizations have perks as well. And so that's something that I was not aware of until I got older, that I encourage you, whatever year you're in, to look into. And if you're a freshman or a sophomore, it's just good to get involved right now. But then as you're older and your junior or senior year, you can really take advantage of those opportunities. Lastly, look into residence life. I was an RA. I did not fully understand the significance of being an RA my freshman year. And it wasn't until my senior year where I became an RA, and then thankfully I became a GA in residence life as well. And I was able to not only have my room and board paid for because it's residence life, but also have my tuition waived because they paid for my tuition, all of my credits in grad school, but on top of that, I received a stipend. And so it's very important to know this stuff. I have to give credit to my father as well because he gave me a lot of this insight, but also he gave me a lot of encouragement to go out and learn some of this information myself. So again, go out and learn this stuff because whether you're a senior in school, you may want to look into some of the graduate school opportunities, or whether you're a freshman right now, you may want to look into how you can set yourself up to take advantage of these opportunities as a junior or a senior.
Definitely. Very good advice right there. And I don't want to elongate this, but One of the things that I didn't realize until I was in my sophomore year was that my program could be offered as a 4-in-1. So I was in the School of JMA. I don't think that's any longer a department name anymore, but it was Journalism, Multimedia, and Arts. I was able to do that 4-year program and then add an extra year on to get my graduate degree. So a master's degree, because you are already familiar with those professors, when they are looking for a GA, they are likely to pick you. Mine chose me, so that means that I received I don't remember paying for grad school. It might be on my student loans, but I don't remember paying additional. I stayed on campus, so I believe that I just had to pay for room and board for that additional year. So there are definitely programs that will allow you to continue your education and get those higher degrees without paying quite as much. So definitely look into that if you're in the sophomore, junior year. Even as late as senior year, you can sometimes ask. It never hurts to ask, honestly. I want to pick on Rachel right now. Can you describe your experience as a young professional after Duquesne?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned before, I graduated last December, and it was an unexpected kind of experience with graduating early. So when I thought I would have until May to kind of make decisions, I quickly had like 1 month, 2 months to hurry up and decide what am I going to do next. And so the transition between being a student at Duquesne and now working at Duquesne was really unique for me because you're going from taking classes, you had the set schedule, you had your breaks in between, and then you're going to this kind of like 8:30 to 4:30 intense schedule, new environment, new people, a new way of thinking, and it's kind of overwhelming at first. But I think the best thing, and the thing I'm most grateful for is still being able to connect with my friends and being able to have those connections, being able to even get involved in the community, to still be connected to my church community was also very important for me, to let me know that even though my status has changed, I'm not a student and I'm a working adult now, I still have that community that I can still lean on. And so whether you're a senior or you have 1 or 2 more years left, you always have a community here at Duquesne and also within your interconnected, your family networks, your friends, you always have people that you can lean on.
Renee, did you want to add on to that? The question was about once you're a young professional, like what was it like when you initially graduated from school?
I feel like Duquesne really prepared me for that, especially with me being in the business school. As you know, we have one of the top business schools in the area. And my major was in management information systems. I actually landed my first job through the Career Center here. At that time, I don't know if they still do, but they would have different organizations come to the Career Center, and I did a placement testing. So my first job was COBOL programming. They came and they did a testing there in the bottom of, was it A.J. Palumbo School of Business? Okay, just making sure I remember correctly. They were down in the bottom there, and they came and did testing there, and I landed my first job there. So I went to RPS, which is now FedEx, as my first job. And so going into corporate America, management information systems, in case you do not know this, is a predominantly white male profession. And I feel as though being a student here at Duquesne, and I think there were 3 of us in the class, me, Lamon, and another young lady that graduated that year from MIS. And I feel like Duquesne, being a student here at Duquesne prepared me for that. I did not have imposter syndrome. I felt like I belonged because I was used to being a minority here in the classroom. And so I feel like Duquesne really prepared me for corporate America.
How many seniors do we have in the audience? Any senior? If you feel comfortable sharing, is there anything that maybe you're anxious about next year or this spring or, when you graduate that you would mind sharing? Okay, I was going to say, Jordan, you want to get the mic?
We can swing the mic around.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Arlia. I'm a senior. I'm in early childhood education. And I think a lot of people will say, especially since the pandemic, that a lot of teachers, like everyone's looking for teachers. And they'll always tell you that, oh, there's such a teacher scarcity these days. But in reality, no one is really hiring for an actual teacher position to stay. And I think I am a little bit worried about that. I might get hired as a long-term sub and just keep rotating and rotating and rotating, but no one's looking for a contract. So I think it's gonna be a little bit difficult to get into a school system as a actual teacher. And I know, like, I love that you're an educator, but yeah, I'm sure you know. But yeah, I am a little bit anxious about it because everyone will tell you that everywhere's looking for teachers, but they're not ready to give you a contract.
Can I answer her?
That's
Okay, let me help you. It's not a farce. We need teachers desperately. I don't care where you go. I work for Pittsburgh Public. I will boost up Pittsburgh Public any day, but we need teachers in education. So I'll talk to you after and tell you what you need to do.
Look, you have a line now. You see what you just did?
Right.
Now you have two people who want.
Well, she definitely wants you too, but I can hook you up.
See? Anyone else mind sharing? You might also get another opportunity. We're making connections here. We're placing jobs. I see a hand. It's like halfway, but yeah.
Hi. So I'm actually a double major in psychology and English writing, but I want to go to grad school for marriage and counsel therapy. But right now, I'm battling with the whole grad application because it's a little overwhelming, the expectations of what they want with all that, but I understand grad school is more competitive. So for me, it's I'm gonna take a gap year before I go to grad school. And I do have a job right now outside of it's my internship, but my fear is the same thing, everywhere there's a job scarce, but jobs are dropping people. So I'm nervous for what I'm gonna do in that position, because I still would like a job within psychology, even though I know it is harder having an undergrad getting jobs because they're looking for therapists with the grad position. So it's just timing.
I got you. One thing I'm going to say is definitely embrace the bounce. And by embrace the bounce, we are young professionals coming out of school. You're going to bounce around. Embrace it, right? And I think at that point it's really exciting, but you do battle imposter syndrome. I'm currently going through it, right? It's am I even worth this job? Should I even apply to this job? No, apply, right? Your resume is going to speak for itself, but can you speak about yourself, right? Can you brag about yourself? That is big. If you can brag and get in that room, the job is yours, period. But at the end of the day, when it comes to finding jobs in psychology, because it's rough out here, but everybody needs a therapist if you don't have one. Find those jobs that you can learn from, right? And that is the biggest thing. It's not an L, it's a lesson. So learn from it, even if it's not for you. It's all right, I tried it, right? Now what's for me?
Any other seniors, juniors? I knew you had a question. I knew I saw you.
Hi, my name's Katie. I'm actually a fourth year in the physician assistant program here at Duquesne. So I have the lovely umbrella of being a student one more year after this. I'll be out in clinical rotations at the end of this year. But kind of where my concerns lie for the years ahead is just kind of getting through the clinical rotations without, making money, because also my undergraduate scholarships at that point are going to disappear, and that's just something that I feel is in the back of my head, but it can't be the major point of concern for me on top of everything with school and everything. So I was just wondering if that was something that you dealt with and kind of how you overcame that, or if you didn't overcome it, either of those.
Well, money is necessary, right? And are you from the area? Or
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, so one of the things that benefited me was being from the area. However, a lot of people who go through school, grants, scholarships, get to that year and it's time for loans, right? Unfortunately. However, if you do need a loan and you're paying for your tuition that way, there will be money available for you that's left over that you can use for living expenses. To offset that, I will suggest that there are a multitude of programs out there, the National Health Service Corps, and a lot of different jobs that you can get where you give a commitment, a time commitment. and then they will pay those loans off for you within a 2-year period. So you have to sell yourself as a clinical student in your rotations, and that's where your interviews are. I tell PA students all the time, this may not be the rotation, where you want to shine or maybe where you are shining, but in all of those rotations, whether it's 6 or 8, however many you have, one of those jobs are going to be, one of those rotations is going to be where you're probably going to end up working, or at least getting a mentor out of one of those jobs, or also getting a lead from one of those jobs. So my very first position came from a recruiter, and I highly recommend mentors, first of all, but also have a recruiter on your side, particularly as a health science student, because they can get to the employers, they can negotiate and help you get salaries. A lot of times as a new grad, you don't want to say, this is how much money I want to make, but that's what recruiters are for, and that's what mentors are for, to help you navigate those, new terrains. This is uncharted territory for everyone, so don't feel, alone, but there are times when you do have to shift from, maybe scholarships and grants over to loans just to get through it. It's expensive. I remember, I don't know what the credit amount is here, but it was outrageous, of course, when I was here. And I unfortunately had to have loans and had to have those paid off. So it's important that you have a plan, even if it's rooming with someone who's going to help you offset that. Or, I had a classmate who used to clean. She got her rent paid for by helping take care of an apartment while she was here. So there's a lot of different ways to do that, but ultimately you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up once you graduate to have whatever that loan or whatever that amount of money is paid off through a time commitment. That would be the best thing. But I do want to chat with you a little bit about that. Recruiters are so important. Jobs have bonuses. They'll pay off your loans. There's so many ways that you can offset the expense.
Thank you so much.
See, I knew I would learn something from this panel today. Embrace the balance. I never heard that term. I wish someone would have told me that when I graduated, because there are bounces. This segues right into the next question, and I'm going to open this up to anyone on the panel. How did you land your first job? Okay, everyone's looking like they don't want.
If I may, I have to thank Picklesburg for my first job. So I was working for the Pittsburgh Pirates scoreboard team, and I still work for them while they're in season. However, that job was going to be done around September, early October or so, and I had just had a job offer from a local news station that I turned down. And my parents were not happy about that. And so this was shortly after I graduated. And so from grad school specifically. This was around June or so, and I was helping out within one of the booths as a volunteer for Picklesburg, and I was told to go over to the kids zone and help out. And so I've been working with kids my entire life from the time I was, about a teenager or so. And so I was just working with the kids, doing as I was told. And the woman in charge of the booth said, "Hey, you're actually good with kids. Like, who are you? What do you do?" And I shared that I recently graduated from grad school and that I'm a photographer and all that. And she said, "Hey, would you be interested in being a teaching artist?" And then she mentioned how much it paid. And I'm like, yeah, I really need a job right now. And so from there, that's how I got an opportunity as a teaching artist. And I'm still a teaching artist till this day. And when it comes to the other opportunities that I've had, a lot of them just come from a handshake, word of mouth, and just getting my foot in the door.
Anyone else want to share?
I was fortunate and blessed to pledge Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated Theta chapter here at Duquesne, and one of our advisors, well, two of them were in education. So I had a leeway, and they told me, "Ronise, do this, do this, do this, do this. Ronise, somebody's gonna call you, do this, do this, do this, do this." So I was blessed that I had those people to help galvanize around me, to support me, and I was willing to listen. So you have to listen. I know you think, can't tell me nothing. I just graduated. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I went through for 4 years or 5 years or whatever. I got this. People are placed in positions to help you. So be willing to listen and follow through and ask questions. I will ask a question. I'm in PDs every day. Excuse me, what? What is that? What are you talking about? Ask questions so that you can get the support you need.
I definitely, and I won't take up too much time, sharing first jobs. First job may not be your I love it job. I know that I've had many first jobs in different fields. I'm a reporter. You don't often land your dream reporter job. So I worked for UPMC in marketing, and I said, I really want to be a reporter. My first job bumped me all the way down to $11 an hour. They wanted me to look pretty on TV, making $11 an hour. That will discourage just about anybody. I was living in West Virginia. Your first job is not going to be your last job. So I think that's very important to understand. I can remember West Virginia like it was yesterday, just being like, I can't do this, I gotta go. It is not your last job. You're there to learn, embrace the balance. I'm going to take that forever now. And definitely just, someone earlier had said it, take that leap of faith, brag on yourself. When you're writing your resume, make it sound, if you were a cashier, you managed a company's, but I don't know how to, but you need to write it, have someone look over, just make sure that you are really, for lack of better terms, just bragging on yourself, big upping yourself. That's very important. My next job after West Virginia was actually Fox News, which is national. So when I'm saying this, like, you have to leap, you have to jump, you have to really be confident in yourself. We go to a Christian school, I have faith, you take that leap of faith and you go with it. That's really important about that first job. That first job is merely just a stepping stone, and I know that seniors and graduates oftentimes get caught up in that moment and sometimes leave the field that they were really destined to be in. And I just want to encourage you guys to stick with it, because that first job is not going to last forever. You're moving on, just like I'm moving on. So I want to ask this question to Rachel. How do you manage your work-life balance?
During my time at school, I really was a go-getter, trying to be in all different things, try to be supportive of all my friends, my schedule was just very packed. And one thing that I learned outside of school is that it's okay to say no. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is you can't be everywhere, you might not be able to do everything, but you can still support by giving an encouraging word. You can still support by saying, I was thinking about you today. I know you have this event, you can do it. It's different things like that I've learned, and I'm still learning how to keep a really good work-life balance. But for me, learning to say no, even though I might want to try to do everything, I can't take on everything. So that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
No, I'm so glad she said that, because one of the things that I teach my mentees right off the bat is no is a complete sentence, right? And so you really don't have to explain your no. And that takes a lot of the pain out of saying no. But more importantly, if you have a mentor, if you have someone who is already where you are going, it makes it a lot easier as well. When I mentor, one of the things that I always have mentees do is, SMART goals. I don't know if you guys have ever done SMART goals in your programs, but it's important to know what your goal is, how you plan to get there, the objectives that you have to accomplish in order to make it happen. And someone that is already there that can say to you, well, that looks good, but, right? Or maybe you should tweak this and maybe you should tweak that. And so it's good to be mentored, but also as you're being mentored, you want to be mentoring. And then that's where you keep that balance, because you're always going forward, but you're also reaching back to help someone else. So it is very, very important that you are a life learner. And it's important that you find those who have a common ground and that have the same, goal as you, so that you can stay on that path. When I first came to Duquesne, I will say that I was a pharmacy student and decided, no, that wasn't it for me. And so I had to find it fast, because I was in my third year. And I followed and shadowed and did everything that I needed to do. Rango School started a PA program, and I jumped on it. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I would do it over again 10 times. But the key to it was having a mentor. Because if it was not for having a mentor, I wouldn't have graduated. And I'm going to be transparent with you. In my fourth year, because it was a 5-year entry-level master's, I was going to quit. I wrote the letter. It was on the table. And I was packing my bags. And it was because of the financial strain. I had 3 family deaths in 3 months while I was here. So if you're in PA school, anything that can happen will happen, or any other program for that matter. And I decided, I'm done. My phone rang. My mentor said, hey, how's it going? I wasn't even going to tell her. She said, I was just checking on you. Let's have lunch. that day, she changed my mind, ripped up the letter, and I graduated from PA school. So without a mentor, I wouldn't be a PA today.
Okay, I just feel like clapping on that. How many of you guys, my students, have mentors? How many have mentors? Okay, I would like for you guys to try, maybe make it a goal to definitely have all hands raised. Mentors are going to be essential. And you might switch mentors as you go along in your career. You might have multiple mentors. You might have a mentor for, life, like, your life mentor, and you might have a career mentor. So that's okay to have multiple mentors. Your mentor may look completely different from you, come from a different walk of life than you, but that insight will also help you be more well-rounded. So definitely, if anyone's listening who didn't have their hand raised for mentors, maybe look, if they, I don't know what they can take on, I shouldn't just be offering people up, but I am. Does anyone else want to weigh in on how to really manage that work-life balance? Perfect. I have not figured that out yet, so I will stay quiet. Eric, can you tell me, what are 2 tips for success?
So I'll say 2 tips for success. Definitely being your authentic self, and I think I talked about it earlier in the day, but I think it's like being yourself in a way that, like, the way you want to present yourself. So like when you go into a room, kind of feel comfortable in your own skin as far as like who you are, how you go about your business, whether it's through class, through work, through anything. I'll say that's one of the tips I'll say. Another one is like asking for help. I think we kind of talked about it here. It's like through my time through Duquesne, there's been times where I had to go to my professor and it's like, hey, like, it's almost getting to summer. I might need an internship. Like, do you know some people? And I think one of the things that I kind of, like, relied on was certain people, because it's going to, like, fall back on you, because I've had people ask me, like, oh, how did you get the internship with Duquesne Sports Marketing? So it's like, oh, like, talk to this person. They end up getting the job. So it's always, like, kind of using your, like, influence or your own way to kind of help others, but also ask for help so that you can get to what kind of career path you want to have.
Does anyone else want to weigh in on that? How, with 2 tips of success?
Mentoring, like Tanya said, networking, like Eric said. In addition to that, I would also say constantly learning. Your field is constantly changing, right? Think about the technology we had maybe when you were in middle school versus where technology is now, right? Constantly changing. So that's going to be how you are in your craft, whatever that craft may be, that you will have to continuously learn. There's certain areas of learning, PA is one of them, that you have continuing education as well, continuing education. So constantly learning. Now, don't be as bad as me, because I'm about 6 degrees in, but constantly learning. But the other thing about that is the balance, but always looking to see and being centered in yourself. Knowing that whatever you're doing today, if you don't, if things change as you grow, your mindset may change, your desires may change. What was important to you here at Duquesne may not be important to you in your 30s. There is nothing better than a good pivot. Mm-hmm. Nothing better than a good pivot. You do not have to be who you are today, 20 years from now.
Yeah. One of the things I think is really important for success, and Eric kind of touched on this, is really being your authentic self. I know many of us may be entering fields where there's not a lot of us, where we don't see ourselves. And then you have that yearning feeling to be like, all right, I'm just going to be like everyone else in the room. I'm going to conform. And that's likely not why they hired you. So I definitely think being yourself and being confident in who you are is why you got the job. You got the interview. You secured the job. So do not try to conform once you get into that workplace. Definitely just be authentic to yourself and just know who you are and be confident. I mean, it might be dramatic, but if you have to look in the mirror and, say some affirmations, go for it. I really love a Being Mary Jane moment. I don't know, that's actually too old for you guys to know that show. Wow, I'm aging myself. I don't know what the shows are right now, but I love a moment. Who's popular?
You guys don't know Being Mary Jane?
Yes, I don't. They didn't even look. They didn't even know what that was. Like Issa Rae. Oh my God, Insecure. I should have went with Insecure. You know what? If you need, that's perfect because If you have to have an Issa Rae moment, yes. Dang it, missed the mark. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that? When you're thinking about, like, I really want to be successful, I'm anxious about that. Also, don't overthink success. I mean, just getting somewhere on time, success. Success. Yep, huge success. Really congratulate yourself as you get through the day. Like, you got your coffee, made it on time. Day's a win. Like, you don't have to overthink success. Little things are little wins throughout the day. You made it to the gym or to therapy or wherever you wanted to go that day. After work, it's a win. You cooked. That's a huge win. That, for me, is a huge win. So, success definitely, there's success in every aspect of life.
Can I add on real quick? Can I add on?
Yeah.
I'm going to also add on giving yourself grace. Something whenever you immediately graduate, comparison is the root of all evil. Your life is not their life. What your path is not their path. Okay? Don't compare. I should be here. I should be doing this, right? Because you're just going to be harder on yourself to get there. And that's just going to make you kind of panic and like, what's my next step? What am I doing next? Give yourself grace. Embrace the suck. It's going to suck, okay? Only for a little bit, and then you're going to tap into something, okay? And once you tap in, you really are going to realize who you are. I see you guys giggling, but I'm serious. Like, just transparently speaking, I cry to my mentor all the time. Seriously, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm 24. How am I supposed to be somebody's therapist, right? Like, how am I supposed to talk to this person and give them advice when I'm still learning what I'm doing? I'm going to echo what Eric said. I'm authentic. I am me. You're coming to me for something. So as long as we can transactionally work like that, I'm going to continue to give myself grace and grow in the spaces that allow me to. So find those spaces, find your supports, find your networks, because they can help you find your career and your path.
And can I add something to that? The only person who you're in competition with is who you see in the mirror. So make sure that you set goals for yourself. And like Kayla said, give yourself grace. Okay, I said I was going to do this, that, and these 10 things, but I did 5. Okay, yes, I did those 5. I'll work towards those 5 the next day, because God willing, when you wake up, that stuff's still going to be there for you to do. So make sure that you don't get comfortable in that position. Don't get comfortable in where you're at. Don't get stagnant, because you should always want to move forward and progress and learn. I was talking to one of my mentees that I mentor at my school, and I was talking to her about, because I had a son my junior year here at Duquesne. That was another push for me, because everybody told me I was going to quit. Everybody told me I wasn't going to finish. I graduated in 1995 when I was supposed to, okay? And we didn't have email. We didn't have email. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of that. I had to send my stuff to my professor's postage mail, U.S. mail. That's how old I am, and I ain't shy about it. So I said all that to say, if I could do it then, you can do it now. Keep pushing. You can make it. Look in the mirror and encourage yourself. No matter what life brings you, no matter what obstacles, no matter what doors shut, no matter what doors get slammed in your face, no matter what people tell you no, you keep going, because that door is going to open, and then you're going to have so much opportunity. So remember, you're always in competition with who you see in the mirror.
Now this question, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I know we have a very well-executed script, but I'm going to switch it up a tad bit. I'm going to add a couple extra words. The question was, how do you handle disagreements? But I'm going to change that a little bit on how do you handle disagreements in the workplace. I think that that's a little bit more challenging and something that you may not know how to navigate coming right out of college, being the youngest, person maybe in the workroom. I think that could be difficult. Randall, I'm going to pitch it to you. Your name was there, so I'm going to go.
It certainly was not easy earlier in my career. However, as I got older, I became more comfortable, more confident in my opinion, in my skill set. And that's the biggest thing. Once you know your work and you know that you know the process and how to accomplish whatever idea it is. Within my field, someone comes up to me with an idea, they don't know how to get it done, but they share it with me, and then it goes through my head, and I go, oh, we need X, Y, and Z, and this is how we will accomplish it. And so at a certain point, sometimes they may disagree with a part of the process, even though I know we need to incorporate something or come in a little earlier or have some sort of anticipation, and I need to explain to them, look, if we don't do this, this will cause this consequence, which will make this thing happen or whatever it may be. So it's in our best interest to do it this way. And at that point, if they still say no because they're hiring me, then we will still do it their way. And then if it doesn't go, or if it goes the way I explain what happened, then I just go, well, it is what it is, and we just roll with it. And unfortunately, in my specific field as a content creator, I then have to, if it does happen that way, I then have to find a way to still make it work. Like that's part of my role. I always have to have an attitude of I will make it work. However, I will explain to you thoroughly what the best path is. So that's one instance. In another instance, there are times where you just have to put your foot down and say, no, we need to do it this way. This is the best way to do it. Not in an authoritarian way, but in the sense of, look, this is just the best idea, point blank, period. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing here, and this is what I suggest we do. So you kind of have to feel it out to know which path to go on, and that's more so in my media role. When you're dealing with a disagreement when it comes to something more serious, that's a different path to take. But when it comes to dealing with clients, that's the path that I usually take.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
One of the things that I would advise that has worked well for me is that the problem is the problem, not the person. And so when there's a problem, you have to approach it together and look for common ground, right? So if for instance, say we have an income issue going on and we got to fix our budget, right? The budget is the problem, not the person who's planning the budget. So a lot of times meetings can get heated. I've been in some very interesting situations from top to bottom, early in my career, middle of my career, and even now, navigating those disagreements, we really have to look at one another as solutions. And so the person that you're working with, we have to find common ground. We have to work towards the solution. And then if we can't do that, we're dealing with facts and not feelings, because feelings can get you in trouble. And so we really have to deal with the facts. And if you have to get a pencil and a piece of paper and sit down and troubleshoot together, again, we are facing the problem, but we are not the problem.
I'm going to weigh in. I don't know if there are any editorial roles that people want to take on, or any journalists in the audience, but I have to professionally debate, I'll use that word, almost every day. When you're in an editorial setting, everyone is bringing their feelings literally to a newsroom, their opinions on a story, how they feel about certain issues. So you are dealing with a lot of subjective matters. There isn't a black and white or concrete answer. This is how this person feels, and that's based on their life experience. So every day there is almost an argument because we are now in a newsroom that is ranging from 22-year-olds to 56-year-olds or 60, they may be older, 60 plus, so it is a wide array of people. One thing that I had to learn, because I am a passionate person, is to not show it all. I mean, I'm sure within this half an hour, you guys can see I'm very expressive. I have very outgoing faces that I make, I think that's a dumb idea. That's my personality. You have to learn, though, in the heat of a moment, you do have to kind of guard some of that. And that took me a while to learn, because a lot of times I was the only young black woman in the newsroom, so I'm looking at an issue through a different lens, and I would get very passionate about it. And while I still am very passionate and I do still stand my ground, I don't have to, get personal. I don't need to attack their life experiences, nor do they need to attack my life experiences. We are going to see something differently, and guess what? So is our audience. So we now have to figure out, if you took that from that and I took that from that, there's going to be two people watching this newscast that are going to feel both ways. So how can we make sure that we're representing all as best as possible? So it's definitely a collaborative effort. For me, dealing with disagreements in the workplace is a lot about how my tone sounds, my facial expressions, my hand movements, even, you know, I speak with my hands, but I don't ever want to offend someone by, this is how, you can't do things like that. So it's definitely, you want to be passionate, but you want to be professionally passionate. I think is very important when you're in the workplace. So don't lose that passion, but definitely just don't wear it all. Because then you'll wind up crying, because, like, that's what I do when I'm too emotional. Then I have to go in the bathroom, and, like, I'm like, they didn't see it that way. And you don't want to be that person at work, because it takes away from your entire work day. So it's definitely about being passionate, but not losing that poker face, not, you know, becoming defensive, not attacking someone is very important. Because, like you said, you have to work together to resolve the problem. And if you just attack the person, they don't want to work with you. They're, you know, somebody might write you off for a day, but some people can write you off, you know, for weeks or months on end, and then things don't get done in the workplace. Next, did anyone else say?
Only thing I would add is a short read for all of you would be Crucial Conversations. If you're ever able to pick up that book, even from the library here, Crucial Conversations is a really short read that will help you with navigating some of these tough discussions that you may find yourself in as you go out into the workforce.
I'm going to pick that up. What's next for you, and how did you decide? What's next for you? I'm trying to think who I want to go to. I'm going to go with one of my recent graduates. Do one of my recent graduates want to pick that up? So the question was, what's next for you, and how did you decide?
So as of right now, I'm still in grad school, so I'll be graduating in May of 2025. After graduation, I either want to go into sports, front office, or like more like the business management kind of role. Right now, I'm still an RA and also working for the Steelers a little bit for ticketing. So just kind of navigating what I want to do as far as, yeah. So but yeah, just kind of, because I'm from Georgia and like kind of coming up here, I'm still kind of open on where I want to be, whether it's through Pittsburgh or just kind of going home or even like to a random state. So it's kind of, that's what I'm kind of deciding as of right now. But yeah.
Anyone else want to share?
Although I'm taking like a gap year or some time in between undergrad and graduate school, my next goal is to become a civil rights attorney. So law school is in my future. And for Lindsay, who talked about taking a gap year, even if that's what you decide to do, it's okay. You can be flexible. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is everything might not go as extremely as you had planned, but that's okay. Yeah. Things happen. The diversion or the different way that you're going might be for a purpose. Maybe there's someone you need to connect with. Maybe there's someone who will give you a job that you might not have even thought about. So even a turn from your original path will still be a blessing in the whole long way, and you can still get to your original goal. Sometimes I have to say, just like saying affirmations, Rachel, you can do this. You still will reach your goal. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I might not think that I might make it, or I might not be able to do as well as I would hope to, but I have to keep on saying, you can do it. This is what you're purposed to do, and you all are purposed to do something great in this world, and no matter what it is, no matter what you set your mind to, you can definitely do it.
Anyone else want
Finding next steps for me, I really followed my passions. I know that's like a cliche answer, but I had to learn what I like to do, what I'm good at, right? Because I personally did not want to go into the corporate world, no offense, because I knew working in cubicle 9 to 5 was not my gig. I knew it was not my thing. And just talking to my friends, or even just finding hobbies that I like to do, like I like to talk to people. I'm like, okay, what's a job that talks to people? Oh shoot, you're a therapist? You know, it was like one of those things. It was like never really on my radar. And honestly, I was pre-med in undergrad, so I did a hard pivot. And I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna do the things I know what I can do and get paid for it. And now I'm in a profession where I'm literally working like hard. But it's so rewarding. Like every day I'm happy doing the things I'm doing, having client interactions, and getting there like required me to listen to those on the path. like whoever I was in the moment with, like ODI for me was huge on campus.
Yeah.
I had Tone, I had Jeff, and now we got Quincy. So even just connecting with those people were huge because then they connected me with other people who I didn't even know were even going to be on my path, and now they are. So I would definitely say, whatever it comes, your next steps, figure out who you are. Follow that path.
I would now, unless does anyone, I would like to open it up. There were questions that we came up with, but I want to make sure that there isn't anything that we're missing. Like I said, this is your opportunity, your safe space to just ask whatever may be on your heart. We have an amazing panel. I mean, I knew I said it at the beginning, but wow. I mean, there is so much knowledge right here sitting down. So if you have a question, okay. He's coming with the microphone. He's coming.
Hello. So I'm currently a grad student. I'm a 5th year forensic science and law student. And because of the nature of the field, I'm now in the process of looking at jobs. And I guess my question for y'all would be, how do you kind of trust yourself in choosing where to look and what to apply for and what to say no to? Because obviously I know like your first job is not going to be like the love of your life, but I don't want to be somewhere like I absolutely hate either. So how do you like go about like just kind of figuring out your way, I guess?
You said law, which you're well above my purview. But when it comes to something you love, definitely aim high. Like write down like the top jobs you want to work for. Like, and then look at why you like them. Like they all have their objectives and their mission statements. If there's similarities in all those places, you know that those are your values. Don't accept really anything that's less than that. That's the only advice I give to you. Somebody else maybe.
I think, how many of you are close to graduation and you've already tapped in to the Career Center? You have, okay. It hasn't been helpful. That's the first question. And be honest.
I should go back again, you know?
No, that's real. So one of the things I didn't do was I didn't run my resume by other professionals that were doing what I was doing. And I eventually did because I realized why I wasn't getting the calls that I wanted. So running your resume by someone to help, that's first. Also, fielding certain jobs that are not for you. Sitting down with your mentor saying, okay, here's what I've done. Do your part first. Sit down with your mentor. What do you think? And then develop a plan and tackle that. And so getting a very pristine resume is very important. And also shadowing those who are already in the field. You have to get out on the ground. And so the reason I knew I did not want to be a pharmacist was because I did not wait for the pharmacy school schedule to go shadow. I probably would have been shadowing in a year, but I chose to do it on my own, and I immediately knew that's not what I wanted to do. And so getting out in the field that you plan to work in, following someone, shadowing someone, can I come and work with you for a couple hours a day, you know, maybe this week, 2 days or 2 hours here and there. And you'll find out if that's really, really what you want to do. And then those people in that field can kind of give you a feel out, you know, and say, hey, I think you would be great at this or that. And you'd be surprised some of the advice that you would get from them. They probably could turn that process from a 6-month process into a 1-month process. You may get hired on the spot if you decide to go shadow someone.
Any other questions from the audience? Go ahead. He's coming over. It's right here at the end. Oh, sorry, Jordan. Right over here.
While he takes the mic, the only other thing I would say is make sure you tap into some of the alumni from the law school.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. My question was, were you surprised with the major you chose? Like, I know you talked about you didn't want pharmacy, and you said a leap of faith or something like that, but did you think you'll be in a career path you are now, like back then?
I told you I graduated with management information systems. What you need to also know is I started off as an accounting major.
Ooh, that's what I meant.
I started off as an accounting major. I loved accounting. It did not love me. And so back then, it was the big 8. I'm dating myself. It was the big 8 as far as accounting firms. Now there's about 3 or 4. They all kind of merged. And back then also it's very competitive. And so if you didn't graduate with high, B plus, A grade point average, you weren't getting a job anyway. So then I'd been working in the computer lab the whole time in the school of business. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I like this. And so I switched to management information systems. And it was cool. I enjoyed it. It paid the bills. I did very well. But then I got a calling to medicine, which I had been running from because I was scared of chemistry. Somebody told me at Oliver High School, somebody had told me that you had to memorize that board with the letters. When I asked what was that chart with the letters and the numbers, they told me I had to memorize it. So I said, oh, I will not be taking that class. So I fought it all the way up to the principal. Be careful what you do. All the way up to the principal to not take chemistry, which they said you had to because you were going to college. And I took scholars physics instead. That didn't work out good, but I took it. I passed because the professor liked me. And so, the instructor liked me. Remember, were we in that class together? Mr. Wissis? Okay. So anyway, then I came here, I only took biology, and then I was taking care of an ill family member. And in doing that, God said, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So then I went back to school, etc. Took chemistry, because it was a requirement. The easiest A I ever made. Because it's similar in logic as management information systems. I said I could have been a doctor. So no, I did not think I would be where I am right now. And that's why I say, there's nothing like a pivot. You may get whatever major you have now and discover 10, 15 years from now that that's not who you are. It doesn't fulfill you, right? And God will make room for your gifts.
Thank you. And also, I'm an accounting major, so that scared me just a little bit. just a little bit.
My assets and credits weren't balancing.
I'll be good, though,
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, with no other questions, there is one. Oh, go ahead.
Just a question. First and foremost, thank you all so much for what you're giving. Yeah. I really appreciate how everyone has been sharing their examples of resilience and embracing uncertainty and your approach to life when life is happening, life be lifing.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, what would you all give if anyone is open to sharing some of their authentic moments? When life hit you for real, what did you do to get to that place of resilience?
Well, I can kind of share. I did share a little bit, but even though it was in the 90s, it still wasn't looked upon as, something positive, you being unmarried and being pregnant. And because of so many people telling me what I couldn't be, it pushed me even further. So then I was a substitute. I'm telling you, I'm dating myself. I had to wait for a phone to ring to tell me what school to go to. So if I wasn't home, I didn't get called, and I only made $55 a day. And I had a son in daycare. So I was basically working to pay for daycare. So anything that could have stopped me, it could have stopped me, but I knew that I had a purpose. And to this young lady's question, when I was in high school, I said I was going to be a high school math teacher. When I got to Duquesne, Helen Hinkey, she was my advisor, and I had this Japanese teacher that was teaching algebra. I couldn't understand her. I said, I got to get out this class. So she said, well, why don't you do elementary? So I'm elementary certified, but then I became middle level math certified. So I had a lot of obstacles and a lot of things that happened. And like you said, life be life. And then I had another child. And then I had people in my family get sick. And there's just other things that happened. But I had, like Tanya said, I had mentors. I had people who I could depend on and call on and rely on. And when I felt like I was going to quit, they would just push me. And when I felt like I couldn't do something else, I would get a phone call. Or if I felt like I wasn't going to make it, I would get, moving forward now, even now, text messages to encourage me. So think about your circle and the people that you have around you, because some people are pulling you down, and some people are going to lift you up. So you need to look at those people, and if they're pulling you down, you need to let them go and change your atmosphere. Because I can say I'm fortunate and blessed that these two ladies right here, even though we don't talk, I know if I needed her, she would be there for me. I know if I needed her, she would be there for me. And that's the circle that I had here at Duquesne that made me who I am. So don't think that you're alone. And no matter what you endure, you have people who can call on, who you can go back to, and they will give you support. I don't talk to Tonya often, but I talk to her on social media, and she says some encouraging things. Sometimes I'm like, yes, Tonya, I needed that today. She don't even know how she was blessing me. So I just wanted to encourage you that no matter what life brings you, there is the rainbow at the end. When you wake up, that's a new day to start something different.
I know I didn't share it earlier, but just to kind of take this story with the mentor a little step further, when my mentor said, "You're not quitting," and I said, "Okay, I trust you," that wasn't the end, right? I had to put it in my shoes, is what I call it. I had to walk it out. And so it wasn't easy. And as a PA student, I'm sure you know that it's a rigorous program. The clinicals almost break you, right? And what I found is that with each obstacle, it got easier. Even though it was still tough, I could rely on the resilience that I developed in that last challenge to help me through the next one. And just so you know, when I had 3 family members die, it was March, April, May of the same year. I lost my uncle, my grandmother, and my aunt in 3 months. And I was still expected to take those exams. I was still expected to keep going. And I did it, but I was a zombie, right? And mental health was not a big thing at that time. And so as she said earlier, you have to really take care of yourself. You have to take care of your mental health. Because if your physical health and your mental health is not okay, then you are not going to be able to manage. So I strongly suggest, I'm sure there's something on campus, where you can go, where you can also tap into some type of mental health, because it's very, very important for not only survival, but for success.
And I don't want to make this go too long, but because you tapped into health, my challenge in school was I have Crohn's disease. It is an autoimmune disease. If you are off balance, your body attacks itself. So for me going through school, it was challenging. I am like a person who says I'm going to do something and I check that box. That's just my personality. But when your health gets in the way, you can't check that box. So that was my biggest challenge. I get emotional talking about this, and I'm not an emotional person because I poker face, but health is hard because you can't control it. So that was my big challenge here. There were times where I had to leave school, come back, leave, come back. That's why it's so important to know your professors. Know the people on campus, know your classmates. Randall used to have to let me into the computer lab in the evening, very late evening, because I had missed all day because I was resting. So I do not like being emotional. Sorry. Safe place, yes. But when it comes to health, you have to really prioritize that. So that is something that was very challenging to me during school years, having to take semesters away or things like that, but you get it done. But you only get it done if you have the right people around you. Because I would not have finished school. I would not have studied abroad because it just wasn't, the math wasn't mathing. If you're going to the hospital, it's like, this ain't getting done today. So definitely knowing who your classmates are, making friends with people who have access to computer labs late in the evening, making sure that you know your professor by first, last name, cell phone number, so when something's late, you can call them. That's so important. Also, just having advocates on campus. So for us, you guys now have Quincy. We had Dr. Hart at the time. I had to oftentimes go to him and be like, they're not understanding. They're thinking I'm making excuses, and I'm truly cannot be present. So having someone who, when you cannot physically go to bat for yourself, who will go to bat for you, that is so important. Because sometimes as a kid, you can't navigate it. And I know I don't want to call you guys kids, but like sometimes it's just a little bit above you. And that's why it's important to have your allies on campus, your mentors on campus, someone who will make sure that, hey, you sit, you rest, we got this. And I'm like done being emotional, because like, when do I ever do that? That's not a thing. And I just clapped for myself, so that was embarrassing. But okay. Okay, we're back on program. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, we got a question.
I'm coming.
Thank you. That's my fiance. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So I just graduated from Duquesne in May. So I'm getting into the business world. I work at a law firm. I'm the youngest and the only Black person in the office. So I wanted to ask you guys, how do you handle the workplace when you're faced with microaggressions professionally and still be able to, to be comfortable in your skin and walk around an office full of white attorneys who look at you like you're crazy and ask you, stuff that can be offensive, and they just don't get it, with still being respectful and not feeling like your job's being put on the line?
I am bold. I am bold. I have red hair right now. I'm walking in how I want to walk in. If you don't accept me for that, then am I in the right place, right? A lot of the times, so I work here and I also work from home as a therapist, but my clients don't ever do anything like that, right? It's a lot of times it's here. Love Duquesne, but also we need to learn. So if you're asking a question that sits not comfy to me, so what made you think that was all right, right? Oh, why are you asking why my hair is longer today? Do you like it, right? So kind of point them to the direction of how to ask the question that they want to ask. What do you want to ask here? And also, do you realize what you're saying is a microaggression? Because I'm here to learn and I'm here to stay. So if you don't accept me for who I am, what are we doing? We're talking to HR, because I'm not leaving, right? So I definitely would say don't be scared of who you are in the office space, because I know it's very intimidating walking into white spaces with no faces that are familiar to you, right? Mm-hmm. One thing you can do is be you in any space. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
Well, I've always been the only from 1994 until now. I've been the only African American on every job I've ever had. And one of the things I had to learn to do was to deal with it head on, privately, humbly, but more importantly, directly, right? And one of the things that has always worked is to say, can you rephrase what you're saying? Because the way you said it, it was offensive. And just let them sit in that. And the reason why that's important is because they may not know. If they do know, now you're challenging them to fix it. And if they really refuse, and then now it's time to discuss course of action, right? So one of the changes that was made on one of my jobs is we did not have sensitivity training in the 90s. We did not have unconscious bias training. Even now I'm in a doctoral studies program, and I have colleagues who are saying to me, well, how do you come up with your statistics for racism? If it's not available, does it exist? And there are those invisibles, right? And so I challenge, when those things come to me, I present challenges. And the challenge that I presented actually this week was maybe we should be discussing how do we come up with the statistics for racism? If we come up with those statistics, someone would have to self-implicate. And where are those research studies? Where I, as a healthcare provider, would be willing to admit that I judged someone, or that I was racist in that moment, or that I was insensitive in that moment. Where are those studies? Let's find them together. And if they don't, exist, maybe we should do our own study. And how can we get that through patient surveys? Or maybe we should survey one another. Maybe we should set up sensitivity classes. And so present challenges, and then tackle them together. But more importantly, stand your ground, because you matter, right? Your opinions matter. And without you, there's no culture change. And so you have to stay, you have to stick, and you have to stay. And I have this phrase that get on your block and stay there. And don't let anyone knock you off your block, because if it weren't for you, then a lot of change would not take place. And so it's important to know your value, but it's also important to know how to articulate who you are.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for their questions. I want to thank the panel for their insight. We're going to now close the question and answer portion. Just if you have additional questions, you could certainly find our panelists and ask them one-on-one. I wanted to invite now Bethany Gary for Career Services up to the podium to really talk about how to make that connection. I know a couple of you guys were saying the biggest fear you have is getting the job. Well, here might be your answer.
How about these panelists, y'all? Amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. If you don't remember anything that they said tonight, remember that the Career Center exists and you should come see us. So our office is located on the 6th floor of the Student Union. So if you know where Chick-fil-A is, we're right above that. So we have 3 career consultants in our office, and each of us is designated to work with specific schools on campus. So I see a lot of familiar faces in the room that I've met with before. So I work with our liberal arts, education, and music students, so come see me. Lauren in the back here is our career consultant who works with health science and sciences. And then we have another career consultant in our office who works specifically with the School of Business. So what that means is you have someone on campus that's specifically designated for you to help you with all of your career needs. So I took a couple notes of things that folks were saying or questions that we were asking and the things I can help with. So grad school. If you want to come talk about grad school, how to prepare for grad school, how to pay for grad school, how to write your essay, come meet with me. We'll have a whole 60-minute meeting to talk about how to prepare for grad school. That's what we're here for. That's our job, is to help you do that. We're having an event coming up on November 8th. I would encourage you all to put it on your calendar. It's called Be the Change. If you are looking for someone to pay for graduate school for you, there will be a number of employers there who will pay for grad school for you. The National Health Corps is actually going to be at that event. That I think someone mentioned over here. So there's gonna be a lot of different opportunities, especially if you wanna do a gap year or if you wanna take some time off between undergrad and grad school, or if you're looking for a way to give back with your degree. There's gonna be about 30 to 40 representatives from a bunch of different agencies to talk about opportunities that are available for you. So definitely check that out. It's 3 to 5 p.m. on November 8th. But some things that we can do in our with our office for you, we can help you with your resume. I've heard the word resume a couple times up here. We can help you, if you've never created a resume before, we can help you start from scratch. If you have a resume and you're like, I just want someone to look at it and help me tweak it, we can do that. So we can help with any of those types of things. If you're in a student organization, we will actually come into your student organization and do presentations. I've done resume presentations, I've done networking presentations, I've done a variety of different things. If you are, I know that DuBan is very big on networking and is very big on connecting. I've heard the word networking a bunch of times up here as well. If you're like, I don't know how to get started with creating my LinkedIn profile, that's something we can help with as well. Come meet with us and we can walk you through how to set that up, how to find alumni. Martin here actually taught me how to find all of the Duquesne alumni that exist on LinkedIn. There's 55,000 of them. And so I can teach you how to connect with them. And this is another thing about the power of networking. Martin taught me how to do that, so now I can teach other people. So it's all about like finding that network, and that's what networking is you may not know that person right now, but you know someone who knows that person. And that's how we can help you find those things. So please come see us. I have candy in my office. We have free coffee. We have free snacks. If the Starbucks line's real long and you just need a little pick-me-up, come see us. I've had students just come in my office to cry. That's fine. If you just need to vent, if you just need to take a breather, whatever you need to do, we are here for you. Someone else up here talked about like making sure you know how to brag about yourself. That is something I do every single day. A student will come in my office and say, hey, these are the 3 experiences that I've had. I don't know how to put it on my resume, or I don't know how this is relevant to the jobs that I'm applying for. Our job is to help you brag about yourself. How do you put being a cashier on your resume that sounds fancier than it is? We can help you with that. And helping you figure out how to make it relevant to the experience that you are looking for. Was there a hand here? Yeah. Are these services extend beyond, like, if you graduate? Good question. Any alumni in the room? As an alum, you have lifetime services with the Career Center. I probably meet with at least 2 or 3 alums a week in some capacity. Some are folks that like just graduated and they're still in the job hunt. There's some that I met with somebody that graduated 15 years ago and is trying to make a career change. So we are available for you for life. So great question. Yeah. So yes, we are available for you for anything that you need. To schedule an appointment with us, go to Handshake. It's duq.joinhandshake.com. As soon as you put your major in there, it'll automatically connect you to the correct career consultant. Additionally, we have drop-in hours from 1 to 3 Monday through Thursday. So if you just have a quick question or you want someone to look at your resume, you can drop in during that time. If you want to meet specifically with your career consultant, I would recommend scheduling an appointment. So definitely come see us. We're happy to help with all of those things. Yeah. We do cover letters as well. I work in the Center for Career Development, and I hate cover letters. However, they are a necessary evil. So we have a lot of resources on Handshake as well. We have cover letter samples. We have resume samples to show you how to like fill out the format, how to tell your story, all of those kind of things. And we can help if you haven't even started a cover letter. We can help you with that. Or if you have one, you just want someone to review, we can help with that as well. I'll be seeing you soon. I am your career consultant. Anybody else? Other questions? Anything else that you all want to share about like using resources on campus just in general? How you've benefited from using resources on campus? I know you talked a little bit about it, but anything else to add? Yes.
The curriculum center.
Yes.
Sorry, emphasis on that one. That you also have access to that for life. Teachers, educators, anybody.
That's good to know.
There's
Okay.
It's in the library in Gunberg. Also go check it out. The renovations are nice.
Yes. The counseling center is beautiful. So definitely use the counseling services that are available on campus. All right. Talia, am I turning it back over to you or to Jordan? Jordan,
Yeah,
come on
so
up.
I'm going to be very brief. Once again, let's give a round of applause to our panelists, to Talia. And then also to yourselves, thank you for coming out. I believe we have some hors d'oeuvres in the back. Yeah, that was the event. Welcome to pass it on. Thank you all.